Here's your General Hospital recap on what happened in Port Charles today, Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. In Britt's lab at the Five Poppies, she pleaded with Pascal not to leave her there to die. She tried to rely on her importance to the research, but Pascal said even he thought Britt was more trouble than she was worth and was replaceable. Britt figured out there was no way he would have her killed, which meant Pascal was acting on his own. Jason was still fighting one of the henchmen in the hallway outside the captivity room when Jocelyn saved him by stabbing the guy in the back. Vaughn said he was going to call for a tactical team, and Jason said he was going back for Britt. Vaughn said Britt could be one of them, but Jason said she was the reason they were alive, and he wasn't going to leave her. He told Joss they had a lot to talk about later and left to save Britt. Vaughn asked Joss if Jason always acted like her dad. She said pretty much, but his timing was always spot on. Preparing to escape, they vowed they would have to leave the other if one of them fell or got in trouble. "No matter what, we don't turn back," Vaughn said. When Jason made it back to the lab, Britt was alone, trying to figure out a way to get the explosive ankle monitor off. She told Jason she only had 21 minutes before it detonated and that he should leave. She was worried about him dying and not being there for his kids. But, of course, he stayed and was able to get the monitor off of her ankle with time to spare. As they ran around a corner, they came face to face with Pascal and two armed henchmen. Pascal instructed them to kill them both. Just then, Vaughn shot one of them in the back, and Jason grabbed the other's gun and took him out after a brief struggle. Pascal got away. Jason said it didn't matter, and they needed to get out of there because the whole place was about to blow. They made it out to the courtyard area, and Jason yelled for everyone to get down before the building exploded. They survived the explosion. Lulu and Charlotte stopped into Bobby's for a latte before Charlotte's punishment officially began. Charlotte did not feel the extensive punishment was warranted, but Lulu maintained she needed to learn that she couldn't always do what she wanted without consequences. After running into Rocco with Outback outside, Brennan came in to meet with Lulu. Before Charlotte left, she told Brennan that everyone said he was the hero and her dad was the villain, but she didn't buy it for 1 second. When she was outside with Rocco and Outback, Charlotte talked about Brennan being the reason her dad was in prison. She told Rocco that in her dad's and Brennan's world, it wasn't easy to tell who were good guys and bad guys because people switch sides all the time. She felt the only difference between Brennan and her dad was that, when Brennan broke the rules, he got to hide behind his badge. As they went on to talk, Charlotte said she knew her mom loved her and was trying to help her fit in, but maybe her life had been too different, or she knew too much. She said sometimes she wished they'd never found her. Rocco asked if that meant she'd rather be on the run than there. Charlotte said not exactly, and that she loved being with him and Lulu. She felt there were a lot of amazing things about living in Port Charles, but missed things like the ballet russe and Viennese pastries. She'd had a lot of independence, which she really liked. Mostly, Charlotte just missed her dad. Inside, Brennan and Lulu sat to talk. He said he wanted Charlotte to visit Valentine at Steinmauer, that he would handle the security clearances, and Lulu could even accompany her. Lulu adamantly said no and told him she would not allow him to use Charlotte as a pawn in whatever game he and Valentine were playing. Brennan got a call to confirm that Jocelyn and Vaughn were in the clear. As he was about to leave, he told Lulu he understood how she felt, but thought she needed to accept who Charlotte was. Because Charlotte was the daughter of someone at the heart of the intelligence community, it meant she was valuable not just to him, but to others as well. When she asked if that was a threat, he said it was a warning because, someday, she might need his help. Lulu asked if Charlotte was in danger, and if he'd refuse to protect her if she didn't take her to see Valentine. He said they were already protecting Charlotte and would continue to do so, but encouraged her to accept that the parameters of Charlotte's life were different than those of others. In Anna's office at the PCPD, Dante, Chase, and she discussed going to the hospital to speak with Drew. When Alexis arrived for her questioning, Dante left for the hospital. Chase and Anna waited until Diane arrived to start questioning Alexis. As Anna continued to ask Alexis questions, including ones about the restraining order, Diane argued that the situation was starting to feel less like one to give a statement and more like a cross-examination. Diane recommended they return to questioning the night of the shooting. Alexis went through the hypnotic timeline of her night. When asked who could vouch for her being home after 9:15 p.m., she said Christina and Ava. Though not legally obligated to explain why Ava was there, Alexis said she was trying to broker a peace between Christina and Ava. As Anna continued to probe, Diane said her client had been more than cooperative in giving information, and the interview was over. Anna thanked them for coming in, but said she might have more questions at a later time. Diane told her to check the recording of the meeting because further questioning would be unnecessary. After Alexis left, Anna and Chase weren't convinced of the plausibility of her story, but had to concede that it may be true. Anna moved Alexis lower down on the suspect list and moved Curtis higher up. Michael met with Curtis at the Port Charles Grill. He asked for his help in finding the woman he was with the night of the shooting for his alibi. Curtis said her name was Jacinda Bracken. Portia called Curtis to let him know Drew was awake and talking to the cops. Before Curtis left, he told Michael that Jacinda worked for an agency named Exclusive Models, which was a front for an escort service. He also offered his help if needed. Elizabeth was in Drew's hospital room when he woke up. He immediately asked if Willow was there. When Portia came in, she and Elizabeth updated vitals. Drew said he wanted a new doctor. Portia said they could refer him to another doctor, but, in the meantime, he'd remain in her care. Dante arrived to question Drew. Portia said Drew was alert and his vitals were stable. But, since he was recovering from major surgery, Dante needed to keep it brief. After Dante entered Drew's room, he asked if he remembered anything from last night. Drew said getting shot in the back was a hard thing to forget. Drew retraced his steps leading up to the shooting for Dante. He said it was raining when he got home from the hospital around 9:30 p.m. The last thing he remembered was falling to the floor after being shot. Upon further questioning, Drew said he'd left the safe open, but there was classified material in there, and the PCPD did not have permission to go through it. For his last question, Dante asked Drew who he would say had a motive to harm him. Without hesitation, Drew said, "Michael Corinthos." Curtis walked up as Dante was leaving Drew's room. Dante asked if he knew where Michael was. Curtis said Michael should still be at the Port Charles Grill. After Dante and Elizabeth left, Curtis walked into Drew's room. Drew asked what the hell he wanted. He went on to say that he had every reason to believe it was Curtis who shot him, but told him not to worry because he was putting the blame on Michael. When Portia went back to her office, Jacinda was sitting in her chair with her feet up on the desk. Getting straight to the point, Portia told her she needed to leave Port Charles. Jacinda said she'd need a tiny cash infusion to get out of the red first. She said she thought Drew might have helped her out if it meant she'd stayed away from Port Charles, but then he went and got himself shot. Portia told Jacinda she should stay quiet about drugging Drew because otherwise she'd be admitting to assault. She recommended that Jacinda find her fortune in another city, but if she did stay in Port Charles, she needed to forget about her and Nina. Jacinda said, "So much for women helping women." Before Jacinda walked out, Portia also told her that if anybody asked her anything, she should maintain that Drew hired her to be an escort and brought his own drugs to the date. That way, she wouldn't have committed any crimes, Drew had, and she could stay out of jail. When Jacinda left, she got a call from her agency and accepted a job. Back at the Port Charles Grill, Jacinda arrived to find out the job she accepted was to meet with Michael. As he was telling her that he may need her as an alibi for the night of the shooting, Dante walked up to say he needed to ask Michael some questions. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Welcome to the General Hospital Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. One thing that General Hospital fans were waiting for with a Who Shot Drew story was getting a reprieve from Drew for a while. Sadly, we only got a mere 3 episodes. While we knew that GH was never going to kill the character off, a well-timed coma would have been nice. Maybe a little memory loss or paralysis? Nope, none of that. Instead, Drew is wide awake, as smarmy, menacing, and just plain ew as always. So, what was the point here? Was it just to have a shooting mystery to solve, since the shooting did absolutely no damage to the victim? Drew is already trying to pin the crime on Michael when he seems pretty convinced Michael did not do it. Did he really see who did it? His eyes were open for a few seconds after the first shot. Drew seemed to be looking up while recognizing his assailant before the second shot knocked him out cold. Did he get a good look? Was it Curtis, Willow, or someone else? Drew has inferred it was Curtis, but he seemed pretty anxious to see Willow as soon as he opened his eyes. He seemed to have a desperate need to talk to her. Is she really that obsessed with his nephew's ex-wife? Or does he know something the rest of us do not? After all, why would she be the first person on his mind if it had nothing to do with the shooting? Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full GH recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs, in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. General Hospital spoilers update for Wednesday, September 10th, reveals that Michael Corinthos will endure a tough interrogation while Willow Tate visits Drew Kane. Kai Taylor will also share his protection plan with Trina Robinson, so let's discuss what's coming up in Port Charles. For starters, Jacinda will mull over whether she'll supply the alibi that Michael wants. It could be a lucrative opportunity for Jacinda, so she may back up Michael when Dante Falconeri questions him. However, Michael will ultimately have to head to the PCPD, since Anna Devane wants to grill him too. Both Dante and Anna will put Michael through an interrogation, so he'll try to stay calm despite Drew's attempt to throw suspicion on him. Of course, Drew actually views Curtis Ashford as his top suspect, but he'd rather see Michael go down for this. Even so, Drew will continue accusing Curtis during their private confrontation in Wednesday's GH episode. Next, Harrison Chase will quiz Willow about whether a Drew reunion is still in the works. Willow might have to play along with one, since anything else will just make her look guilty. At some point, Willow will visit Drew in his hospital room. Drew may promise Willow that they can still get everything they want if they make sure Michael gets locked up for attempted murder. Lucas Jones will also have a conversation with Elizabeth Baldwin, who'll admit she'll have to tell the cops what she knows if they ask. Liz will have news that could apparently contradict Willow's version of events and cause problems for her. Meanwhile, Kai will do his best to reassure Trina Robinson about keeping them both safe. Since no one knows Kai has turned against Drew, he may think he can use his job and previous praise of Drew to their advantage. Trina will also cross paths with Emma Scorpio Drake and use her as a confidant. That may involve Trina spilling about her love life instead of leaking anything about the break-in or cover-up. In Portia Robinson's office, Isaiah Gannon will agree to back off and keep their sizzling secret if that's what she prefers. Although Isaiah would rather have a full-blown relationship with Portia, he'll get that things are complicated since she's still married to Curtis. Now that all this Drew mayhem has erupted, that'll give Portia a reason to stick with Curtis for a bit and avoid drawing more attention. As for Carly Spencer, she'll shock Lulu Spencer by advocating for Jack Brennan's plan. Carly will apparently give Lulu a nudge to let Charlotte Cassadine head to Steinmoyer for a visit with Valentine Cassadine after all. Finally, Nina Reeves will get an intriguing offer and most likely get roped into helping facilitate this Charlotte trip as well. General Hospital spoilers say Lulu and Nina have an important discussion coming up soon, so we'll bring you updates on all the details. General Hospital recap for Tuesday, September 9th, reveals that the resort exploded. Drew Kane sent the cops after Michael Corinthos, and Jacinda got an alibi job. At GH, Drew woke up asking if Willow Tate was there, and learned from Elizabeth Baldwin that she was with Scout Quartermain. Drew found out Portia Robinson was his doctor and wanted a different one, but Portia insisted he'd remain in her care until another one could be arranged. Dante Falconeri eventually arrived to question Drew about what he remembered. Drew reflected on the intense pain of getting shot in the back and talked about pouring a drink as well as removing Willow's engagement ring from the safe. Dante wondered what else was in the safe, so Drew flashed back to his Porsche blackmail material and insisted the cops didn't have his permission to search through his classified info. Dante also asked Drew if anyone would have a motive to go after him, so Drew pointed the finger at Michael. At the Port Charles Grill, Michael gave Curtis Ashford updates on his need to find Jacinda since she could serve as his alibi. Curtis provided the name of the modeling agency that was a front for the escort service since he remembered it from his previous research. In Portia's office, Jacinda explained that Drew had paid her stay away from Port Charles, but her poor money management brought her back for more. Since Drew got himself shot, Jacinda pushed Portia for financial help instead. Portia made it clear that Jacinda wouldn't be getting any more money, and if she tried to rat Portia and Nina Reeves out for the drugging plot, she'd incriminate herself in the process. Portia urged Jacinda to claim Drew willingly brought drugs to their evening together if she got questioned and then sent her on her way. Jacinda got a phone call on her way out of Portia's office and said she'd take the job along with whatever else since she was desperate. Michael was waiting for Jacinda when she arrived at the Port Charles Grill, where they exchanged official introductions. Jacinda was curious about the reason Michael tracked her down, so he dropped some hints and led to her realizing he needed an alibi. Dante arrived and interrupted Michael's conversation with Jacinda since he needed to ask his brother some questions about Drew's shooting. In Anna Devane's office, Alexis Davis was willing to answer questions with Diane Miller present as her lawyer. Anna Devane got Alexis to walk her through everything she did leading up to the time of Drew's shooting. Alexis was asked about the restraining order and mentioned Curtis's visit to discuss Stella Henry's case. Alexis then claimed she spent 2 hours trying to help Ava Jerome and Christina Corinthos Davis make peace for Avery Corinthos' sake. Diane eventually ended the interview since she thought Alexis had provided enough answers. Anna warned there could be follow-up questions, but Diane acted like Anna had all the info she needed. At Bobby's, Charlotte Cassadine griped about her excessive punishment, but Lulu Spencer thought her daughter had gotten away with everything for far too long. Jack Brennan greeted Rocco Falconeri with Outback outside before joining Lulu and Charlotte in the restaurant. Charlotte gave Brennan an attitude before joining Rocco out front. Once they were alone, Brennan told Lulu about Valentine Cassadine wanting to see Charlotte at Steinmeier in exchange for helping the WBUSP. Although Brennan assured Lulu that Charlotte would stay safe, she refused to allow it. Brennan took a call about the situation with Vaughn and Jocelyn Jacks before turning his attention back to Lulu. Since Charlotte was Valentine's daughter, that made her valuable. Brennan warned that his help might be needed someday as he continued his pitch for cooperation. Outside, Charlotte complained to Rocco about Brennan and talked about missing the freedom she had on the run with Valentine. In the lab at the Five Poppies Resort, Britt Westbourne assumed Pascal was acting on his own when it came to blowing her up. Pascal refused to free Britt and left her in a panic. Once Vaughn and Jocelyn were free from their restraints, Joss whacked the guard choking Jason Morgan and knocked him out. Jason stared at Jocelyn, but any questions had to wait since he needed to go save Britt. Jason returned for Britt, who doubted that he could get the ankle monitor off without blowing them both up. Britt pushed Jason to leave for his children's sake, but he made it clear that he'd go down with her if he had to. Jason got the ankle monitor off, but time was running out due to Pascal's countdown. Pascal and some guards tried to block Jason and Britt's path, but Vaughn appeared and helped out with his gun. Jocelyn, Vaughn, Britt, and Jason all ran as they tried to escape, but the explosion sent them tumbling down anyway. Fortunately, all 4 of them were unharmed, other than looking a little rough from the blast. Britt was appreciative of Jason being a human shield, but she asked him to get off her. Jason and Britt locked eyes in an intense moment, but it turned comedic when she admitted she didn't like his tattoos. General Hospital spoilers say Jason and Britt have a complicated love story ahead, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers hint that with Dr. Britt Westbourne on the cusp of returning to Port Charles, will Lulu Spencer attempt to run her right back out of town? Lulu is a heroine on the ABC soap, but she's also proven to be someone that others should not mess with. Just ask Brooke Lynn Quartermain Chase. Brooke Lynn tried to stay out of Lulu's way after she awakened from her coma. However, Lulu was relentless in exposing the woman's pregnancy and adoption secret. Lulu stuck her nose where it didn't belong multiple times and unearthed the true paternity of Giovanni Gio Palmieri, and was the reason the young man learned that his life was a lie. Gio unexpectedly found out at the 2025 Nurses' Ball and had a meltdown in front of the shocked crowd. One may even be as bold as to say that Lulu acted like a bully where Brooklyn was concerned and has manipulated her way into becoming a friend to Gio, just to spite her nemesis. GH spoilers for the week of September 8-12 imply that while Britt was at the Five Poppies resort, Jason Morgan will rescue her, along with Jocelyn, Jax, and Vaughn, to bring everyone back to Port Charles. During the preview video for this week, Lulu is shown looking as if she's seen a ghost. Lulu will be completely caught off guard when her C realizes that her worst nightmare, Britt, is very much alive and arriving back in town at the worst possible time. After all, Rocco Falconeri only recently found out the truth about his birth story, and he's been fascinated to learn more about Britt. So much so, he reached out to Liesl Obrecht for more information on his birth mom. Lulu has struggled with Rocco and Liesl's bond, so imagine how hard-pressed she'll be to keep Britt away from her son, which at this point may be impossible to do. Lulu is crafty when it comes to scheming, so she'll try and think of any way possible to run Britt out of town and far away from her son. What Lulu doesn't realize is just how much Britt has changed over the years. For the most part, Port Charles has come to like and accept the good doctor. Still, there's one person who isn't a fan, and that's Lulu's cousin, Carly Spencer. If Lulu becomes privy to the information of how Britt and Jason first broke up, plus how he chose to marry Carly over pursuing a romance with the hospital co-chief of staff, she may be able to successfully poke at Britt's insecurities to get her to leave Port Charles just as quickly as she returned. The last thing Lulu wants is Britt lingering in the little town, getting closer to Rocco and blowing up any progress she's made with her son. After all, Lulu just returned to PC herself after 4 years away from her family and re-establishing bonds herself. General Hospital spoilers imply that Lulu is not only desperate to keep Britt away from Rocco, but she also has zero boundaries when it comes to doing the right thing. So, whether she plays on Britt's insecurities or tries to sabotage her life in Port Charles via her career, Lulu will do everything in her power to make sure Britt skips town, ASAP, whatever the citizens of Port Charles, not to mention the fans, have to say about General Hospital's Drew. Let it never be said that he's not an opportunist. And we've got to hand it to the man. Waking up on Tuesday from a coma after being shot in the back, only to just about immediately throw Michael under the bus, is ice cold. But also devilishly well played. Because it sounds like telling Dante that Michael had motive to pull the trigger is just the start. Cameron Matheson spoke with Soap Opera Digest about Drew's plans, though anyone who's been watching will probably already glean them. "It's game on," Matheson says. A minute and a half after opening his eyes after being shot twice in the back at point-blank range, he's ready to go. He's ready to manipulate. He's ready to bring an innocent man down. He doesn't care. He's not a good human, what can I say? The innocent man in question? Michael. Well, whether he's truly innocent or not is still up in the air, but irrelevant. Matheson says Drew's all too happy to target his nephew, no matter what the truth is. Though to be clear, Drew, Matheson tells Digest, does partially believe Michael tried killing him. But more important than that, this is an opportunity to tear Michael down and get Willow her kids back. That's not to say he'll succeed, but Drew could at least bring Michael to his knees enough to force him to work with Willow. Of course, if Michael really did shoot Drew, then it's a shoo-in that he ends up losing his kids. While we're pretty sure just about every person in Port Charles will love him all the more for trying to take the villain out, the law is still the law, and for the most part, Anna is a stickler for the law. Then again, with Sonny's power and influence, he could probably twist the wheels of justice to get Michael off, render the whole thing moot. But either way, Drew woke up smelling blood in the water, and he's wasting no time in going in for the kill. General Hospital spoilers reveal that a surprise pregnancy is ahead, since an OB/GYN's return points to baby drama. Let's consider who might have a bun in the oven and how it could affect storylines moving forward. In an Instagram story, Christina Ferraro posted a pic that was taken outside the studio with a caption that said, "Guess who's back?" Now that we know Ferraro is filming as Dr. Navarro again, it's time to mull over which patient she'll be seeing. Since Dr. Navarro is an OB/GYN, it seems obvious that someone is having a baby and will need her services. It's just a matter of which woman on canvas will be the one who faces this pregnancy shocker. Portia Robinson recently slept with Isaiah Gannon, who previously talked about maybe passing down his cabin to his future kids one day. Is there a chance that Portia will be the one to give Isaiah his first child? This would obviously be a pretty late-in-life pregnancy for Portia, but it's not totally out of the question here. Carly Spencer had Donna Corinthos a bit later in life too, so Portia might be the next GH character to tackle a similar storyline. Of course, we should also consider Portia's daughter as a possible pregnancy contender, since Trina Robinson seems to be on the verge of reuniting with Kai Taylor. If Trina and Kai land back in bed together soon, that could open the door to some baby drama for her instead of Portia. As for Jocelyn Jacks, she already hit the sheets with Vaughn once, and will do it again once this mission is over. Vaughn and Jocelyn will start sneaking around to score sizzling time together, so Joss is another character who could wind up pregnant. Harrison Chase is supposed to be sterile, but could Brooklyn Quartermain have his miracle baby? It's possible, but it'd be more likely and far soapier if Brooklyn got pregnant after cheating with Dante Falconeri. Who do you think will end up pregnant on the ABC soap? Which character would you like to see have a baby next? General Hospital spoilers say a pregnancy storyline seems to be in the works one way or another, so stay tuned for updates on who'll be stunned by some big baby news. The fall season on General Hospital promises major shakeups filled with returns, revenge, and new beginnings. As Port Charles braces for fresh chaos, fan favorite Valentine Cassadine resurfaces alongside his daughter Charlotte. Their comebacks are set to stir emotional ties, family drama, and dangerous rivalries across town. Valentine Cassadine has been away from the canvas for months, but his absence hasn't dimmed his shadow. Locked away in the notorious Steinmauer prison, his name still carried weight among enemies and allies alike. Now, the schemer is gearing up for a powerful return this fall. The latest updates confirm Valentine will not sit quietly behind bars. Revenge against Jack Brennan burns inside him, pushing him toward desperate plans for freedom. Escaping Steinmauer won't be easy, yet Valentine thrives in impossible situations. His return promises fireworks as he strikes an unexpected alliance, setting Port Charles on edge. Valentine's comeback will remind everyone why he's one of General Hospital's most complex characters. Calculated and ruthless, he never plays fair. His next steps will undoubtedly reshape rivalries and test loyalties, both inside and outside the Cassadine family. Charlotte Cassadine has been off-screen, but her return is equally pivotal. Viewers will see Scarlett Fernandez reprise the role, marking Charlotte's most important storyline yet. Her connection to Valentine makes her both a strength and a liability in the dangerous Cassadine world. Charlotte knows her father's influence can open doors, and she isn't afraid to use it. This fall, she'll grow closer to Danny and Rocco, forming a dynamic bond with the next generation of Port Charles teens. These relationships will push her into new storylines while testing the loyalty she feels toward Valentine. Her reappearance signals a bigger focus on younger characters in General Hospital. Fans can expect more screen time for Danny, Rocco, and Charlotte as the show builds toward future drama. With fresh faces rising, family rivalries may spill into the next generation. The fall shakeup on General Hospital guarantees dramatic turns with Valentine and Charlotte's returns. Their storylines bring revenge, family tension, and generational shifts, ensuring viewers stay hooked. As Port Charles braces for impact, one thing is clear: nothing will remain the same for long. Stay tuned to Soap Opera Daily for all the latest on General Hospital's fall surprises. The 50-year-old General Hospital actor, known for many roles in Hallmark movies as well, spoke out after losing his home amid the California wildfires. "Just want to give everybody a really quick update," he explained in a video on his social media. "Since the fire, I've received so much unbelievable support and a lot of questions as to how I'm doing and if I have a place to stay now." He added that the first 3 weeks were a little tricky, but he's got a new rental unit he's staying at in Silver Lake, California. It has some levels to it, which is really nice. Nice. Cold plunge is on the roof, which is nice. He also showed off a beautiful little Buddha that he managed to save from his home. Co-stars have also reached out to help, including General Hospital and All My Children castmate Eva LaRue, who donated a sofa. I've had places to stay for my friends, and I've had dishes given to me and towels and sheets and clothes, and I'm going to forget some things, but so much kindness and generosity. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody that I haven't posted about everything, but I just love you guys, he added. It's been logistically and emotionally a lot for myself and my kids and family, and day by day, chipping away, making progress. I'm so grateful to have a place to stay, which makes it a lot easier, and also the support from all of you. I really do love you guys, he continued. General Hospital spoilers hint that Nathan West may be revealed as the person running Cesar Faison's operations. So let's talk about this villainous twist and how it may be explained. In the September 8 episode, Jack Brennan put Valentine Cassadine through a grilling session. Over a video chat, Valentine spilled information on Colette Moreau, who was a double agent working for Faison even back when Valentine knew her. Brennan then pushed for more recent info and pointed out that Faison had been dead for quite some time. Valentine responded with an, "If you say so," but Brennan reminded him that Faison's brain is in a jar. That may be, but his organization lives on, Valentine insisted. Of course, that led to Brennan asking who's running Faison's operations, but Valentine ultimately demanded an in-person visit with Charlotte Cassadine in exchange for that shocker. However, there's an explanation that fits with the timing of Ryan Paevey's imminent return and fall preview hints about how Nathan has changed. Nathan won't be quite the same man he was before, so that lines up with a sinister character shift. Plus, it makes sense with what we know about Britt Westbourne's relationship with the mystery boss. Britt insisted there was no way he was okay with this when Pascal revealed she was set to be blown up within the hour. All signs point to Britt working for her brother, albeit a more villainous version of him. It's probably just a matter of how exactly GH writers will explain the changes in Nathan now. Was Nathan brainwashed to follow in Faison's footsteps? Could Nathan be a clone instead? Did Peter August alter his appearance through plastic surgery or a mask to look like Nathan? These are all intriguing options to consider, but the reasons for Nathan's changed behavior can be fully explored later. For the time being, maybe we should just focus on the epic potential reveal of Nathan as the big bad who's currently running Faison's show. General Hospital spoilers say some Nathan survival updates will shake up Port Charles eventually, so don't miss how that jaw-dropping news will affect things. General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, September 10th, reveal that Curtis Ashford will react to Drew Kane's shooter accusation, while Harrison Chase has a big question for Willow Tate. First, on Wednesday's GH episode, Carly Spencer will have some advice that leaves Lulu Spencer taken aback. It looks like Carly will push Lulu to allow Charlotte Cassadine's visit with Valentine Cassadine at Steinmauer, but Lulu won't understand why. Carly may argue that she trusts Jack Brennan's judgment and add that he wouldn't be pushing for this if it weren't important. Elsewhere, Nina Reeves will hear an enticing proposal, so this may tie in with Brennan and all the Charlotte drama. Charlotte's former stepmom may get pulled into the situation since Nina will have some updates for Lulu later. At GH, Isaiah Gannon will make it clear that he'd like to have a real romance with Portia Robinson, but he'll also be willing to honor her decision to keep what happened between them a secret. It seems Portia will pick the secrecy option for now, perhaps partly because there's so much upheaval surrounding Drew's shooting. Portia may think it's best to keep the status quo and make things look normal at home for the time being. As for Kai Taylor, he'll have a strategy session with Trina Robinson. Kai will suggest a way they can protect themselves in case suspicion starts pointing in their direction, but Trina will remain on edge. Trina Bay will also open up to Emma Scorpio Drake in Wednesday's show. Although Trina may not admit anything related to what went down at Drew's house, she might confess she's seen a new side of Kai and is now wondering if he deserves another chance. Over with Elizabeth Baldwin, she'll have a tense conversation with Lucas Jones. Liz will acknowledge that if the police ask her, she won't have a choice. It sounds like Elizabeth will realize she may have to contradict parts of Willow's story and could make her look guilty when it comes to the investigation. As for Chase, he'll ask Willow if she's still planning on reuniting with Drew. It'd look suspicious if Willow suddenly bailed on Drew now, so she may assure Chase that she's all in on their reunion. In Drew's room, he'll continue throwing accusations at Curtis. Drew just admitted he has every reason to think Curtis shot him, but he told Curtis not to worry since he's putting the blame on Michael Corinthos. On Wednesday's episode, Drew will double down on Curtis as his top suspect, so he'll reiterate his belief that Curtis is the one who shot him. Curtis may deny that and argue that the whole town practically had a motive to want Drew gone for good. As for Michael, he was in the middle of asking Jacinda to be his alibi when Dante Falconeri suddenly appeared to question him. Will Jacinda pipe up in support of Michael and corroborate his story, knowing he's got plenty of money to pay her? Regardless, Dante and Anna Devane will both end up interrogating Michael about that night soon enough. General Hospital spoilers say Michael will do his best to steer suspicion away from himself, so stay tuned for more news on his answers and the whodunit overall. There's a whole lot of trouble brewing in the city of Port Charles this week. And while the mystery surrounding Drew's shooting will be a hot topic, the General Hospital scribes are juggling several storylines, including one that will see a dangerous situation turn downright deadly. In the latest promo released by the network, which you can watch here, Anna's investigation is becoming increasingly complicated. In fact, the board on which she's tacked pictures of the suspects is as crowded as Grand Central Station at rush house. Ironically, there's one person who isn't being considered, despite his name usually being mentioned when the PCPD round up the usual suspects. During the latest edition of their YouTube chatfest Stone Cold and the Jackal, Bradford Anderson dubbed it downright miraculous that Steve Burton's Jason isn't a suspect. "You are not going to be in a courtroom with Diane next to you, in a blue suit," laughed Anderson, countered his pal, "The only guy who's not a suspect is the guy who's killed everybody." But sure enough, Jason has a solid alibi. "I was in Croatia." Before speculating as to the identity of the actual shooter, Burton admitted, "I have no idea who did it." One thing we do know is that this week, things take a shocking, dare we say explosive, turn in Croatia. In the preview, Jason can be heard shouting, "Everybody down!" as debris flies through the air. And unless we miss our bet, this will set the stage for shocking return the latest spoilers indicate will rock Port Charles. Get ready, because everyone will soon be learning about Britt having risen from her extremely premature grave. Given that Rocco only recently found out the truth about the circumstances surrounding his birth, meeting his dead mom promises to be the kind of moment we soap fans live for. Rocco, Danny, and Charlotte are set to take over Port Charles. General Hospital is about to highlight its next generation, which includes some Children of Legacy characters. We can't wait for stories about the teens of Port Charles. We cannot help but love these two boys. Danny and Rocco may not be biologically related, but they are brothers in every sense of the word. They spent years as almost stepbrothers. Sam and Dante weren't married before Sam died, but the boys and their sister Scout lived together as a family. Danny and Rocco got into some trouble with drinking, lived through Sam's death, and even found a dead body together. The boys are there for each other through it all. They were great at the Metro Court pool this summer, and Carly even wants to hire them back next year. They are geared up for new adventures. Danny has his dad, Jason's, strength, and is willing to fight for Scout against her terrible father. Rocco is more the voice of reason. They make a great team. GH has historically loved teen stories. Many of those teens are now adults with children of their own, who are now ready to take the spotlight. A perfect example is Lulu's daughter, Charlotte. She is about to come into her own and spend more time with the other teens. She'll draw closer to Danny and Rocco as we develop General Hospital's next generation. GH's co-head writers, Elizabeth Korta and Chris Van Etten, recently said about Charlotte, according to TV Insider, "Lulu's daughter has gotten into trouble before, so who knows what she will be up to now. She is her mother's daughter, with a little Valentine thrown in. If they ever come home, others may be added to the group, such as Georgie, Jake, or Aiden? Are you ready for GH's next generation? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!